So it's 5:30 in the morning, and I've just been doing a little bit of farming on my new cache because this boss in particular drops the Cyclone SMG over here in the doll bunker, right? The penitent steel. And I don't know what's going on, but we know this glow all too well. Oh my goodness, fellas. That, my friends, is a PHOSPHENE Cyclone. Oh, yes. With the new DLC comes new legendary gear, legendary class items. In this case, new Vault Honor. Also, a lot new weapons, and I do love me some new weapons. In today's video, fellas, we're going to be going over one of the best SMGs in Borderlands 4 that recently got added with the Vault of the Damned DLC. This SMG's name is none other than the Cyclone. It is a Maliwan SMG, but as far as I'm aware, this Maliwan SMG only drops in the cryo element, and it doesn't have an alternate element for you to toggle between like any other Maliwan weapon generally does, right? Now, some people are saying this is flipper status levels of awesome in terms of goated SMGs. However, I'm not gonna go that far just yet, but from this video, me using it, playing around with it on cache at UVHM6, I can definitely tell you that this thing is a terrorizer. Of course, like the intro said, it does drop from Penitent Steel, which is a doll bunker boss over in the Whispering Glacier if you want to farm this bad boy. But it has a legendary perk where whenever you hit an enemy, there's a chance for it to explode and spawn an additional projectile. Keep in mind, we have a Jacobs variant too, so we're going to be doing quite the amount of ricocheting and absolutely waste laying to the mobs that we're coming across in our path of this video. Now, I will say, this weapon is a mobbing menace. It can do some bossing. Like, I would say the bossing of this weapon is definitely serviceable, but dude, where it shines anytime, any ad. Doesn't matter. Vile, Ordinite, badasses. Bro, if there was a slaughter shaft in this game, wait till we get that takedown. This thing would destroy all of it by itself. All without even having to reload this bad boy, which is pretty awesome. We're going to be getting into that later. And overall, I think there's a lot of value in getting your hands on this absolutely amazing weapon. If you're deciding on which of the new weapons from the DLC to farm up first once you get to level 60, the Cyclone would be a very good choice. What would also be a good choice is checking out the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/kree, where we stream all of our shenanigans that we be getting up to, Borderlands 4 included. You already know I gotta do a little self-promo here. And before we get into the build breakdown, setup, and live action portion of the showcase, which if you can tell, we have a nice little juicer live portion showcase for you guys for this video. New weapon, new DLC. We got some bigger content for you. We gotta shout out our channel members. They go the extra mile to support the channel each and every single month. Much love, much love. Big thanks to Pikachu, KJ, Perplexity, and my homie General. Thank you guys so much. Hope you're doing well. Now, let's go ahead, do a little meandering over to the live action portion of the showcase. All right, you rightful rogues, we got a heater for you today because we are going over the Cyclone SMG. So fun thing is that this is a Maliwan SMG, but I'm pretty sure it only spawns in the cryo element, and its legendary perk, Flash Freeze. Chance on hit to explode and spawn additional projectiles. Let me show you briefly what that looks like here for you, because the current setup that we have is actually pretty nutty in terms of synergy with this weapon. But since we do have a Jacobs accessory on there, we're already going to ricochet like that. Then we're also going to be able to spawn additional projectiles through the legendary weapons perk, which looks a bit something like this. So a Jacobs ricochet, as we know, looks like a straight shot, right? It literally just ricochets straight on over. The actual projectile from the weapon kind of like goes up in the air and comes down at an angle. Let me just give you a brief little example, like that one right there. It literally went up, down, and then back to the main target that we hit with it, like that. Pink, pink. See, as you can see, pink. Okay, cool. On top of that, it being able to do explosive damage, it means it gives it, splash damage. We can scale splash damage and the gun damage, cryo damage in a different way, you'll see what I'm talking about. Now, I know what some people are thinking. Okay, what class mod are you using? For this video, and for this like setup specifically, we're going over the Wind Rider because I know people are going to be talking about, where's this bad boy, the gamer class mod. Here's the thing though, right? This class mod is ridiculously broken. The thing about it is that it can infinitely stack bleed, and that bleed can stack on top of itself and crit on top of itself and essentially never fall off. This class mod allows for you to stack a bleed dot that goes well over the exponential annotations. Normally, example 1.E10.4, something like that. The numbers get ridiculously off the charts, quite literally over octillions levels of damage. Because if we were to put that on, it kind of trivializes a bunch of stuff because we would just get an infinite dot. And for what we're trying to do here, we're not trying to do that. That's not the point of today's video because we're showcasing a new weapon, not broken bleed stacking setup. But if you do want to run just the infinite bleed stacking build, go ahead, check out our most previous video. It will be linked at the end of this one, but for the time being, that is the wrong class mod. Where's because like this one I have right here, this Wind Rider. Yeah, I put a high caliber on it because high cal, two of those gives 10% extra gun damage, huge. And we also have 25% extra gun critical hit damage through the Deadeye firmware, huge. But we're using the Wind Rider for our Cyclone. So our Cyclone is on a lot of different instances is going to be able to really juice. And as you notice, we're not ever having to reload, and we have a pretty decent fire rate as well, letting this thing really rip. On top of that, as you can see, we have a lot of different elements going at it. We have cryo, kinetic, fire, and shock. Obviously, the shock is from our Watts for Dinner. Siphon goes crazy. And then for our skills, we're mostly in the red tree. Of course, we do always have that 1 point to alchemy, but we're primarily in the red tree. If you want to look at our green tree real quick, honestly, the reason why we're in the green tree, we think, is for Cures Bones and Can't Stop Winning. These two is very nice. Can't Stop Winning allows you to enter Windfall just by doing a critical hit, which we're going to be doing almost all the time. And then Cursed Bones, whenever we deal action skill damage to an enemy, the enemy becomes jinxed. Very nice. As jinxed enemies, they receive more damage. Huge. But our red tree is where the sauce is at. Now, I'll be honest, Bleed the Bad, for this specific setup, it's only being used for its secondary effect. Honestly, I kind of just didn't really know where to throw this a skill point. I figured throwing it into this capstone could be pretty good. Gives us a little bit of axe skill cooldown duration, but overall, it's not really the most necessary thing needed here. We do like having Unshaken, increased damage from all sources, absolutely huge. And we also like Bloom to Glow. Portion of all of our damage dealt is converted into overshields, and then whenever we lose a fortune stack, shots fired from our weapons are going to deal bonus damage equal to the overshield. Honestly, pretty nice, especially because with 2 points from our class mod, we get that bad boy up to 140%. Pretty nice. This 3 from Dusty Trail is from our class mod. Don't really spec into this, as this just kind of forces you to do a bunch of sliding, which if you do that already naturally, maybe, but like I could really like justify myself using it. The main sauce though is in the middle red tree, okay? Because first off, we have Unleash for, you know, some good old extra fire rate, which is really nice for an SMG. We have Trick Shot, because here's the thing with Trick Shot. We're gonna gain ricochet chance with our guns. Shots that ricochet this way are turned into bone shards. When bone shards damage an enemy, they create bone splinters that converge around them, dealing kinetic damage. Enemies damaged by the bone shards take increased damage from all sources. The more fortune stacks Cash has, the greater the chance. What these look like, okay, are these little floating orbs, like these little floating white orbs, okay? Because as you can see, they're gonna damage an enemy like that, boom, and then they all just go in. And as you can see, it really allows us to help rip up some extra damage. Gives us a nice little debuff, I think. Yeah, 30% soup, we'll take that all day. And overall, very beneficial to the setup. But like I said, it's about this mid-red tree right here, okay? Flawless. Increased kinetic damage. War Wagon. Whenever we deal kinetic damage to an enemy, this is the important part about having a like really full mag and just never having to reload it. We gain a chance to refill ammo into our weapon and restore action skill duration, okay? Ammo fill chance, 24%, ammo refilled, 30% of the current mag. And yeah, the action skill duration is cool, but we're not using it for that. And then to combine with Lawless and War Wagon, we have Nothing Beats Lead. A portion of all elemental damage that we deal is converted into kinetic damage. Damage converted in this way is increased. Very nice. This allows us to actually use the Cyclone on this setup and get it to really juice with some kinetic damage, because kinetic damage does 100% damage across the board to whatever enemy health bar they may have. A red, an armor, or a shield, doesn't matter. It's going to do 100% the same damage regardless, which is very nice. So, how this looks. Mink, and then we rip. As you can see, we're doing some kinetic damage as well. And overall, it's just overall very nasty. There's just a lot of instances of damage that we're doing between our weapon, the bone totem, the ricochets, the bone shards, the trick shot. Like, there's just a lot working here in our favor. And honestly, this weapon is pretty darn nasty and hitting pretty hard for an SMG. Add in the fact that we got lucky with a PHOSPHENE, we're happily going to take that. Now, with that being said, fellas, let us go ahead, move on, meander, and have a little bit of fun with our new SMG. Shiny at that. Now, where this thing excels is definitely in the mobbing category, I'm telling you, fellas. This thing mobs so freaking well. And even if you didn't have a Jacob's accessory, like, we're still gonna vibe, just like through the setup that we have here. Of course, having a Jacob's license accessory is just so dang good regardless, right? And yeah, we're here to rock. We have our first legendary showcase of the new DLC. Obviously, you know, like these past like few days since the DLC launched, I've mainly just been grinding cash and like trying to like get a bit more acclimated and familiar with just how he works and everything, how he's coded, like synergies, what double dips, what can he do, where's the special power. Let me tell you, bro, this Vault Hunter is probably a top 3 Vault Hunter in the entire series of Borderlands. I know that's a bit insane if you, okay, yeah, let me not get too funny over here, but I genuinely mean it, bro. Like, this guy has so much nonsense that he can do. Like, no matter what setup or how you want to play this Vault Hunter, there's a way for you. You want to throw cars, you can do that. You want to do gun damage, you can do that. You want to do active skill totem damage, you can do that. You want to stack a bleed dodge that can one-shot any boss, guess what? You can do that. And the crazy part is that, let's see, it is only, what, day 3 of this DLC being out? So, well, maybe like day 4. But we're just like scratching the surface on what this character is like truly capable of. I just last night finally got cash up to full level 60 and UVHM 6. That's why I didn't do any like new legendary showcases yet, as part of it was I was leveling cash and I don't really like to do legendary showcases unless the weapon that we have is in a very good setting, because I like for the weapons to look good when I showcase them, especially if they are good. I want to put them in the best chance to succeed. So giving one at its highest power, aka level 60, and then getting it on a proper build and putting it into the hardest difficulty that we have, UVHM 6, and seeing how it fries. That is what we're doing here. And this weapon is a very strong. There's just a lot of instances in Raw just oomph that this weapon has. I've even seen some people in the community say it's better than the bot. I myself wouldn't go that far, but I mean, hey, it's a new shiny thing, a new shiny toy for us to play around with. People are going to naturally gravitate and enjoy it. You know, recency bias is very much so a thing here. One thing to note is that with, you know, lead to lead, I just mispronounced that, and War Wagon, essentially what is going on here, nothing beats lead. Why can't I remember things properly? War Wagon, this takes from our reserves, okay? It doesn't just print a new bullet in there like Harlow does with the Flux being up and the Halo sidekick, which is very important to note, because you might actually, you know, run this, you're like, oh, crud, I burned through all of my ammo. That's cool, bro, because we just be holding the trigger. Of course, something with this type of setup in which we're not ever having to do a manual automatic reload, aka the magazine never realistically reaches 0. So through that, we have to have other ways of entering Windfall, because one of the main ways of entering Windfall on some other setups is just using a hot slugger, which, yes, we did finally get ourselves a level 60 slugger. We also have ourselves a level 60 Hellwalker. I am planning to do a whole bunch of updated level 60 showcases of some of the older legendary weapons. If you guys would like to see, you know, the Hot Slugger first, the Hellwalker first, let me know. Let me know. I'm down to do whichever one you guys want to see first. I was initially leaning towards Hot Slugger. Of course, for the time being, I am wanting to do, you know, new showcases on some of the new weapons. But, you know, hey, bro, y'all want to see this, what a level 60 Slugger can do on cash? Yeah, I'll be honest with you. It's very disgusting, and I'm not even talking about stacking a bleed die. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just the raw, potent stopping power of the Slugger. We know that the Hot Slugger can hit, but at level 60, bro, I kid you not, the Hot Slugger is quite literally doing double the damage on the card, and it's pushing into triple, because old Hot Slugger was like, what, 9,500 on the card? Now at level 60, I kid you not, bro. Here, I'm just gonna show you. It's at like, what, 22,000? I mean, look, I mean, that's just ridiculous. Like, comparing the differences, like 9,300, 9,400 to 22,000. Yeah, this is why level cap increases are so big, because we get extra skill points and our weapons just get inherently so much stronger. Like, look at the Hellwalker. Look at the Hellwalker compared to its old self. Yeah, tripled. A little bit insane here. Now, we have our boy Inceptus here. I'm going to throw a little crit knife at the boy, and I'm going to let it ride. Now, this thing does have relatively decent bossing capabilities, although you definitely have better options in the bossing category. He does get a lot of DR whenever he goes in this form. But I wouldn't say it's like, it's not best at bossing like some other weapons are. Like some weapons just make their money in bossing. Although I will say, for you get to lose your crit spot, OG. I will say though, for something that it's not like fully specialized in, it definitely can fry out in some bosses. I was even like, I had a run of Bloomreaper. Like, I did like a few, just like, I'll get a little test for it, feel for it, see how good it is. And this thing can definitely get a platinum run of Bloomreaper on UVHM6, even if it's not the most efficient way to do so. It definitely has that ability inside of it. Although I wouldn't go overly all in on using this for Bloomreaper. If you are someone who is trying to unlock UVHM6 on your cash, then you can maybe give this build a spin with this weapon in it. Although I would highly recommend just going the easy route. You would spec into the red tree. You could either crossfire it up, or you could pull over one of your level 50 bods with this setup right here, and you will frag out, because War Wagon will proc and you will not have to reload it, aka putting up a lot of stickies on the boss and having just a crap ton of damage go off. Or you could also, you know, if you have the gamer class mod, you could just bleed stack them down. Because you have to do Bloomreaper have UVHM 5 to unlock UVHM 6, which I know for some people is definitely going to be at least somewhat of a struggle, which is cool. It happens. And I hope you guys are taking a little bit notice that, you know, we are going a little bit more talkative here, a bit less cuts, as there's a lot going on in the game right now, and there's just so much for me to cover. I think we've done a decent job so far in putting out some decent cash content, whether it's, you know, build. Actually, all we've really done is just builds. We did I mean, the first night that we did, it was mainly just like a simple, like, bare bones basic guide, like how you can do, like, if you're doing like a fresh cash level 1 playthrough, a good leveling build to go into, which I would highly recommend Green Tree. Then once you get enough skill points, you could do the red tree, Bleed to Bad, in which you could just stay in your active skill, infinitely stack up its damage and fire rate, which can be a little bit finicky in just like a raw boss scenario. But in something like a vault like this, where you can have plenty of mobs to stack that up on, you will absolutely fry. The action skill itself is really, really fun, although there is some quirks in terms of interacting. Like, you can't use your grapple, you can't mantle while you're in those action skills. Same thing with the card. You can't, like, there's a little bit of quirks with some of these action skills that we have here on cash. That's why, like, the bone totems are nice, because you just throw out your dice and then you're just off to the races still. Although I am still working on like a really good blue tree card cash build that, like, fully optimized, UVHM6 ready. Are we in? No, we're not in Windfall. Yeah, if we're not in Windfall, dude, we definitely like lose some our damage. As you would imagine, Windfall is really important to Mr. Cashman here, but it's all Gucci. It's all Gucci. And we fry, we rock, we do our thing, we do what we do best. Now, I feel like with the cards though, you definitely need to rock Cowboy, and I feel like any ways you can just cycle Cowboy cards and then sweeten the pot is like mainly what I found to be working for me, because I grinded my cash to UVHM6 with the card build, and that card build was the same exact one that I showcased a couple nights ago. The level 50 card cash build that wasn't even optimized. Yeah, I used that same exact setup to get all the way to UVHM6 with cash. Like, I'm not even trying to front to you. That card build freaking fries. Like, this, like, it's just core is very strong in terms of like spawning just so many cards going. Just, like, you're always gonna have your deck topped off. I just am struggling to find it to where it's to have it to be like a true bossing menace, as that's just like where I find the cards can be a little bit weaker. It's just like the raw bossing capabilities. But it's okay, because we're not even a week into this DLC, and we have plenty of synergies to look for, find out, a lot of other gear to grind out and whatnot. There's still so much, so you know, give me a little bit more time and we'll definitely get that card build fully fleshed out, done at its, you know, ideally best, strongest form, with all of the others, with the 10 other skill points calculated, with some sort of legendary class mod. Either the whale or the rounder is what I've been playing with for that build specifically. And then firmware, which I believe for firmware pieces, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm going to rock, where is it? Yeah, Gucci. I don't know how, like, what is this? What is this? But yeah, I'm going to go get this one because 10% skill damage. And then there was another one in here that that I saw. Yeah, this firmware, Skillcraft. Skillcraft is the other piece of firmware that I want, because skill damage, go hard. Go hard. And then if you can get 3 out of 3, that would be pretty heat. You can stack up to a 50% damage buff with your card, which would be pretty awesome. I am just like kind of poor on firmware, low-key at the moment, which is chill. That's why later today, guys, we are going to be doing a pretty fat, juicy live stream, just grinding out some gear, farming and whatnot, looking for some pieces, testing out some of the new legendaries. I do want to farm for the crazy Pearl. I think that would be pretty fun for a video, as for a weapon showcase, because we haven't done any Pearl showcases yet, because the pearls from like the first like set of pearls that we got with the the realm of the monster demon, you know what I mean, the banded demon mine, those none of those like jumped off the page. It was mainly like the Shalashika and the roulette. Speaking of which, if you guys would like to see those level 60 weapon showcases, let me know. I'm probably gonna do most of my showcases, like the ones coming up over like at least I'd say like the next 2 weeks or so, on Cash, because he's the new Vault Hunter, and we know a lot of the other good Vault Hunter builds, but there is still a lot of other stuff to test with the new Vault Hunters. I'm mainly looking at Rafa, because Bullet Buddy Deluxe did get a change in which it's, I think, no longer 8 or 10 seconds of infinite like infinite firing. It's only 4 seconds. But the thing is that that's like low-key better, because it actually synergizes with some of the forgive me, I'm blanking on the name, but the skill that allows you to, like, your first shot of your fully loaded mag, right? Those didn't work with Bullet Buddy, but now they do. And with how fast Rafa can fire his weapons, I genuinely don't think that that's going to be an issue, because, like, you need more seconds to build up torque stickies. Like, no, you don't, dude. Those 4 seconds are ample enough time. With how fast Rafa can shoot, bro, like, that's not going to be a problem. As you can see here, wait. Yeah, see, when we're in Windfall, like, we can do some okay boss damage. Like, it's not groundbreaking, but, like, it's workable, respectable. But he did. He dropped a cooler for us. I'm gonna pick this bad boy up. I also want to do an ordnance build for Cash. Like, there's a lot of stuff I want to do for Cash right now, and I'm picking up any and all class mods, essentially, bro. Any and all class mods I'm picking up. I'm getting ready. We are loaded, we're locked, we're rocking, and it's honestly pretty darn cool. One thing I will say is our specialization tree hasn't really changed. It's still just all the way in the Daredevil, although this one, the best defense, is one I'm working towards getting. But I really feel like with just how Cash works, you definitely want to get yourself I Am a Gun and then a Honed Mind, especially if you are doing a Crossfire build or a card build. These two I feel like are must runs, and then Now with Caffeine's always really good, but low key on some of these you don't really need it. Like I was like on Card Cash, you don't need this. I don't need this. I'll take this all day over that. Like real freaking talk. Now another okay, I know we showcased a little bit of Bloomreaper gameplay, but I will throw myself to the wolves for you guys for this next one. We'll do a live run. I'll be honest, man, I really do love this game and I enjoy so much about it, but one thing I do not like is the Bloomreaper boss fight. All right, as someone who likes raid bosses, takedowns and whatnot, the Bloomreaper is essentially a microcosm of every single issue I have with quote unquote difficult bosses in modern day looter shooter gaming. This isn't just a dig at this boss specifically, because as someone who plays a crap ton of Destiny, that game does it a lot as well. They implement what I like to call artificial difficulty, essentially ways to disrupt the player or have the player wipe in ways that I feel are just kind of silly and ridiculous. Example A with the Bloomreaper Arena is the fact that it is this big pit and you're navigating between a bunch of platforms. Once you break all the crystals, the top platform you're not touching until the boss is dead or you wipe, because it's full of spikes. So you're having to do a bit of a ring around the rosy action, and for a boss that is supposed to, like, it's the tankiest boss in the game, why am I playing ring around the rosy with it half the time? I don't like that. But it doesn't stop there. My other issue with Bloomreaper is I like that they want you to, you know, clear the boss as fast as possible. I like that. Rewarding for doing it fast, I feel like is... I gotta reset the instance here. Hold on, give me just a quick second. But what I don't like is that in order to get platinum, you have to down the boss in 90 seconds, which is cool. Totally down for that. But they gatekeep some of that time behind you through like 30 seconds worth of immunity phases. Bro. That's artificial. That's like, it's technically 90 seconds, but realistically, it's a minute in terms of time you actually have to damage the boss. So that doesn't really like compute with me. You want the player to down the boss as fast as possible. Once again, I'm all here for it. But at the same token, you're adding just artificial time barriers. There's 30 seconds in which you can't even damage the boss. Obviously, when he comes out the ground, and then when you deal 75% of his health, and then the fog comes up, which brings me to my next point. The fog is just nonsense in my opinion. I don't see why we need to have the whole arena in which it's just an open area where you can fall to your death very easily. Then at 25%, the whole arena I can't see. Like I'm just driving in an impossible mist. And I get why they did that. It's like, okay, the final 25% of his health bar, almost like a mini final stand, is going to be the most difficult part. Okay, that's fine. I totally, and the boss is enraged, if you will, for all my Destiny folks out there, right? But the boss also has this I-beam attack that pushes you backwards. That is something that Destiny 2 does as well through its ogre enemies, and I think that is dumb because there's not many ways for you to counter that. It's like, okay, I get pushed, I have my exosuit here, but once it runs out and I'm getting pushed, dog, there's nothing I can do about that. And God forbid if you get him to fight for your life and you're caught in that beam when it happens, or that's the reason that you get put into fight for your life, then you're still going to be getting pushed all the way off the map, and you basically just don't even get a chance to even fight for your life and get that second win that you need in that scenario, which I find to be very, very silly, especially for players who are like trying to clear up the UVHM levels or just get a grasp on how to deal with Bloomreaper. That is very frustrating because you could get halfway through a run and then homie hits you with his I-beam, knocks you back, puts you in a fight for your life, and while you're in fight for your life, falling down, he's pushing you away from all the platforms. So you just sink to the bottom, and it's kaputski. That's kind of silly. Also, I don't like having to hunt down the boss in the fog and then getting pushed in said fog. It just becomes a little bit silly. Add in the fact that to get the best rewards, you have to kill the boss fast. With the immunity phases, there's just a culmination of stuff that I don't really like in modern day gaming. So that's my 2 cents on why I don't really like this boss necessarily. Like, Wotan's 10 times better, bro. 100 times. I love me some Wotan. Plus, like, I know some people don't like the little crystal phase. I get that. I mean, the crystal phase is whatever. You just gotta have need a proper weapon. We're not at Windfall. If we're not at Windfall, the crystals pose a bit more of a problem here. I need to get into Windfall. Yeah. Once we get into Windfall, the crystals get broken pretty easily. And then we cyclone everything out like this. And as you see, like, for this part, like, you still have to get rid of the Vile Orbs. That's, like, the one thing of the crystal phase I don't really like, is that you still have to get rid of the Vile Orbs as well, even after you pop all the crystals. And those crystals, bro, they got health. Like, the crystals have a lot of health. Still waiting. Still waiting. Still waiting. Like, right now, the boss should have been damageable, like, 10 seconds ago. Like, the boss should be damageable right about now. Methinks. Oh. Boss runs away. It's all Gucci. Let me get him to do his I-beam attack real quick, because, like, that's the thing I really just don't like. Yeah, this I-beam attack, I find super silly. But I also found a tech to avoid it. You get on the platform he's on, and you just ego it. You just go round and round. The record spins all day. You listen again, it takes you far away. Oh, also, you'll notice we're not gonna have to reload this bad boy whatsoever. Yo, he's tweaking. All right, so now we fit him into his enraged status. So now we are going to jump back up here. Once again, we have to wait about, what is it, 10, 12-ish seconds or so for this boss to come off. There we go. And then we're going to fry. Or I say fry. Yeah, see, like, getting platinum with this weapon exclusively, at least I found to be a little bit kind of challenging. Especially if, like, nothing's perfect. Like, it has to be, like, kind of perfect for us to get, like, platinum with just the Cyclone. Obviously, I'm not saying, like, the build I have is, like, perfect and it's gospel, but, like, it's definitely good. But I feel like for Bloomreaper and this weapon specifically, it needs to be a little bit better. Oh, let's go check our hooligan real quick. Yeah, if you didn't know, Bloomreaper, if I'm pretty sure, he, like, almost always drops a class mod when you defeat him. This is, oh, man. But yeah. Oh, dude, I totally forgot. If you want to farm this weapon, wow, I made it this far into the live portion of the showcase, and I'm just now remembering to tell you where to go farm it. My bad. Of course, you got to check over the DLC, and then it's actually going to drop from this order bunker boss. Or not, my fault, not order bunker, doll bunker. Yeah, it's a doll bunker boss fight. Low-key pretty heap. It's the Penitent Steel. Pretty easy boss fight, all things considered, and he is going to drop your Cyclone for you. So, head over there and get your farming ready, my friends. Although, at this point, other than that, fellas, that is going to just about wrap up the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts and opinions on the Cyclone down below. And I'm not saying the build's perfect, but for the sake of this video, I felt like it did a good job showcasing how good the Cyclone can be. And I really do enjoy this weapon. This SMG is definitely at least a top 3 SMG, maybe even the best. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do consider checking out the Twitch channel. If you ever want to check us gaming, live, doing some shenanigans, helps, whatever it may be, we do be streaming on the Twitch channel. You guys have a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you're enjoying the DLC and cash as much as I am, and I'll see your beautiful faces in that next one. Adios.